Welcome to Film Freaks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
And Eddie Williams.
And tonight we are reviewing the newest Netflix film that has come out as of the last few days, which is the third official...
Came out on Super Bowl.
Yeah, it came out on Super Bowl night, on the same night that it had a trailer, and that film is the Cloverfield Paradox. And this film, well, to get into it, this is directed by a director named Julius Ona, and basically this film it has quite some big actors that you may have seen in other films. It's got the Daniel Bro, who was in Captain America Civil War as the villain. You also got David, what's his name? David Oyelowo. Yeah, him. He was in movies like Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Lincoln and everything. And basically this film is about a group of...
Yeah, the Indian dude that was also in the Star Wars reboot too, 2009.
Yeah, that's right. You had him, and then you also had...
Which makes sense because J.J. Abrams is producer, so...
Yeah, and then basically this film follows a group of astronauts who are on the space station that's called the Cloverfield Station, and they're basically using some kind of accelerator to try to save Earth from an energy crisis, because basically what's happened on Earth is that we lost electricity everywhere, or we're suffering from electricity everywhere, and so it's up to the astronauts to basically find a way to save it from happening. But then something happens to where they accidentally get themselves pretty much caught into a different type of dimension, so to speak. Now, here's some backstory for you.
And we're led to believe, I think, a little spoiler here for people, but I think this was being talked about mostly, so everybody kind of knows this, because everybody was actually opening up about this part. We're led to believe it looks like the original Earth is actually dead. We don't know.
Yeah. And now here's some backstory for you. Now, as you know, if the original first Cloverfield came out around the same month that the last two films had, and when that film came out, I kind of avoided it for a while because I didn't actually see it until I actually saw the second film, which was 10 Cloverfield Lane. The first Cloverfield was a found footage movie, and it was basically trying to bring back that idea of found footage, where you get to see everything from the characters' point of views. And I kind of avoided it for a while because I felt like I would be kind of really nauseated after seeing the type of filmmaking they were going for. So I kind of avoided it for a long time. And then when I seen that 10 Cloverfield Lane came out, I actually got really pumped, and I ended up seeing the film, and I actually really loved it. And then I got a chance to go back and watch the first Cloverfield, and to my surprise, I actually didn't mind the first Cloverfield. It had its flaws here and there.
I'm going to have to rewatch the first Cloverfield, because the last time I saw the first Cloverfield was actually the year it came out. And I remember I was kind of on board the train, because when that first movie did come out, it was not liked by a lot of audiences because they thought that it was too shaky.
Yeah, it gave a lot of motion sickness.
Yes, it did, and a lot of people, when it first came out, I remember that movie actually surprisingly made a lot of top 10 worst on a lot of people I know's list, and it just wasn't liked. Over the time I started to see it kind of grew on people, but it was hated at the beginning, and I'm going to give it a second watch and get a better opinion. But I remember that the first time I saw it, I didn't really care for it, but I didn't think it was horrible, but I thought the whole, it was just beyond, the visual, I see what he was trying to do with it, but I remember correctly, I was not really a big fan of the film at all. But then 10 Cloverfield Lane came out, and by my surprise, man, that movie really got me really into it, especially John Goodman.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it was a surprise, too, because, we'll get to the marketing in this film. That film also had a trailer that came out of nowhere, and then basically the movie came out, not even 2 months later. And so, that's one of the things I like about J.J. Abrams as when he produces films and makes movies, is that he really does great marketing with his movies. And to my surprise, the 10 Cloverfield Lane was a great film, and it dropped the whole found footage thing and was dealing more with a traditional film. And then when I heard the news that they were doing another Cloverfield film, because basically after 10 Cloverfield Lane came out, they pretty much established that this is going to be an ongoing franchise. And so they made it to where...
Because the quite of high praise 10 Cloverfield Lane got there, okay, it seemed like fans loved the marketing behind it.
Yeah, and so now we get the next film, which was actually in development. Actually, I found out the next film we're talking about, it was in development since 2012. It turns out that it was actually going by a different name called God Particle, without even being connected to the Cloverfield series. And then,
Yep.
basically, after J.J. Abrams, I think, decided to connect the franchise, he basically made it to where this is actually part of the franchise. And much to our surprise, because we knew for a while the film was going to come out eventually this year, but they kept delaying it back and forth. But much to our surprise, we actually got a trailer for it on the day the Super Bowl happened, and then it said that you were able to pretty much watch it on Netflix. So instead of seeing it in theaters, you got a chance to watch it on Netflix at home. Now, I'll say that's a good thing, but it's also not a good thing, because my only disappointment with that on the marketing standpoint is I really wish we could have got a chance to watch it. At least the film could have still been released in theaters necessarily, because this doesn't really look like a Netflix movie.
It does, and it does look highly shot. And, 10 Cloverfield Lane went to theaters last year, so it's a shame that he made a fucking deal with Netflix. I can kind of get why he wanted to, but at the same time, it's a shame that now that these Cloverfield films in the future apparently are actually going to be Netflix movies.
Yeah, which basically,
disappointing.
but that's also a thing that Paramount's pretty much doing, where some of their films that are coming out, they're basically trying to do a safe approach with Netflix, because
which I will agree on this, because for little spoilers, we're going to be talking more in detail in the film. If you've probably heard by now, because everybody's on Facebook, this movie, even though just because it just felt like he rushed it out so quickly towards that end, it just felt like not the end of the movie, just rushed it out completely. With how the quality, like how the movie was, and we'll get to our grade, I can see why he took that chance, because this is a type of film that I had a feeling would bomb.
Yeah, because I think it would, but I think because of the name recognition, it probably could have done well in theaters, possibly. But maybe, but
you got those people, because if you look, like I said, if you watch Facebook, there's a lot of people not liking this movie at all. I mean, they're calling it fucking trash.
Yeah.
So I feel like those people would have went home and told their friends, and their friends would have avoided it. Therefore, it would have bombed.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, basically getting back to this movie, that after upon seeing the film in its entirety and hearing all the negative feedback from it, this is actually the first time that this type of film, like this part of the franchise, has actually gotten quite the hate compared to the other two films.
I didn't even see this much hate from the first movie. This is really getting hated.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, and we'll get into details, because I'm going to tell you right now, it was not a good movie.
No, I would say that as much as I was looking forward,
disappointment.
It was
very disappointing.
Yeah, this was definitely such a colossal disappointment for me that I really am at a loss on even kind of describing the film itself. Okay, so to basically get into this film, to get in my cons out of the way, well, okay, yeah, we'll go into our cons with it real quick. So the film is trying to set up with the fact that you have these scientists that are trying to save Earth with this accelerator they're trying to use and all that. And one of my biggest issues is the fact that pretty much this film is basically a rinse and repeat of every single sci-fi film that uses this type of material. So this story kind of has the same approach, where an experiment goes wrong, where you have the scientists on the space station that are trying to put something to save Earth or to travel or whatever they're doing. Something goes wrong, and then you have some weird shit that comes up, and they get killed off one by one. How many movies have we seen done that same thing over and over again? Not to mention...
And if you guys don't go out and see movies often, we just had one recently last year called Life.
Yeah.
Which pretty much was almost the most identical fucking shot for shot. How certain things changed, but it feels like, they took Life again and just said, we're going to change this and say Cloverfield and throw this in there, and it's called Life.
Yeah.
Called Cloverfield Paradox. I'm like, oh my god. And that movie, if you go back and watch our review on that movie was also very just,
Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but it was, just kind of middle of the ground, so to speak. But this, I thought, was worse, because they basically took everything that was in that film, because at least with Life, I could get into some things that they were going with at first, and I did kind of like some of the stuff they had here and there. But this one... This felt like the most generic and most kind of straight to video-ish type, well, in terms of quality-wise, that I could watch on like a direct-to-video film, on like the writing and the way that the film is going with its direction.
Basically, he's telling you the visuals and all that's all theaters, but this writing feels like it's like comparable with the visuals is Coca-Cola, and the writing is fucking great value.
Yeah.
And I don't think just the writing is just great value. It's great value after being stale.
Yeah.
I'm just like, damn, how did you have so good of a shot movie with writing? It looks like a dumb fuck walked in and had no experience.
Right? And not just that, but you also have shit that happens throughout the film where, okay, all these characters they introduce, okay, they come from different countries or and everything. They're international space astronauts.
It's an internet, yes, but you got your Russian, you got your Brazilian, you have your Italian, you have your British, you have your American.
Yeah, and they all, and
I mean,
and none of these characters interest me at all. Except, yeah, all these characters, all these characters. I'll say apart from maybe the main girl, all these characters, I seriously did not give a fuck about any of them.
Oh, I didn't. I did not give a fuck about. I mean, the one girl that you liked, I kind of liked. But the movie was just, I just didn't care about nobody in this fucking film. And let alone, when you were trying to do your, like, internationals where you have, like, these people being Brazilian and all that, some of these motherfuckers don't even have the right accents. Why the fuck have you got a guy who's supposedly have the Italian flag on his, like, his space thing, like he's supposed to be Italian? That motherfucker's speaking clear as day American, like he's been in this country for like 200 years.
Yeah, I think I forgot what ethnicity he was supposed to be, but I could tell his accent was slipping in and out.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. He has Italian flag on him, but you can maybe say, well, maybe we looked at it wrong and said it's Irish, but Irish people have accents. He had no accents. He was a fucking American as day.
Yeah, well, not just that. I could hear his like, because the guys who you're talking about, he speaks, I think in real life, an Irish accent or something. Yeah, he's Irish, and basically I could hear points where his accent actually comes out when he's like talking in certain points.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if he's really Irish in real life, and if I got this, the flags mixed up, I'm sorry. But, I mean, some of these people who are actually ethnic of that country are actually speaking very clearly like they're American, like they don't even have accent. The only one that really sticks to her native language that makes me believable is the Chinese girl.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Russian dude.
And the main girl, too, at least.
Yeah, the British girl, yeah. Every now, though, there was this one part where she screams. It just sounds like she was American playing her British, but she's actually British in real life, so I can see that. But, that's just nitpicky right there. I don't care. I already didn't give a fuck about these characters. They're already, this movie was already an editing fucking mess, which is a big con for me, because we go in the beginning where you have this energy crisis going on, then I don't know how many fucking years they've been in space, so I'm lost already. It just popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, not just that, but we would have...
It had that very cheap opening credit scene where, like, it just goes to black and just starts reading everybody's fucking name. That
looked very cheap, yeah, because it started reading the credits and stuff while there's dialogue happening, but it's all muted. I was like, it looked like something I would see on a TV show, like a very cheap one, too.
And not only that, the music playing with it, and then it has their cutting scenes like they've been there for years or something, but it's just the way everything is edited in this, like, really, like, the whole movie, but mainly the first half. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And not just that, but also going back to the editing, yeah, it is also very, very, really a colossal going back and forth, because you have the stuff going on in the space station, while at the same time you have these scenes that are going on where the main girl's husband is trying to get, like, this little girl out of the city or stuff, because to kind of go into some more detail, there's something that happens in the city that's causing, like, destruction or whatever, and he gets this child out.
We're led to believe, spoiler, we don't know. I mean, if we're wrong, correct us on it. We're led to believe that when the black guy, her husband, and that little girl and the shit's being bombed on Earth, we're led to believe that's possibly the prequel to Cloverfield.
Yeah, because you kind of see, like, in the background and stuff that it's supposed to possibly be in that area, so to speak. But from what I've looked at, they say that the film actually, well, wherever, at the beginning I think it says that it takes place in 2028, according to Wikipedia at least.
See, that's the thing. They don't tell us any. Well, that's the problem with this film. It doesn't tell you in the film. You have to go on Wikipedia and read this shit. That is ridiculous.
I know. And pretty much also what really is confusing is that you have scenes like going back to on the Earth and then the space station, but it doesn't seem like it's consistent because it seems like it's going back and forth between real time and future time. I'm like, I'm kind of lost here.
That's why I was getting lost. I'm like, hold up. All right, and then they start talking about dimensions. So when they talk about dimensions before this shit starts going down, where we saw the husband and that little girl, I'm like, okay, so did that Earth nothing happen to that Earth? Or is this the ultimate Earth? Where is this at? No. I mean, this movie is all over the place, people. It is a fucking mess. Then it does this shit where, like, this fucking blonde chick, which, spoiler, by the way, blonde chick is, like, inside this fucking wall, and it's cool that they explain later on, but the fact is the way they kind of edited it and the way they kind of, like, didn't really get to know who that was at first, I was like, who the fuck is that?
Not just that, but you know what that reminded me of now that I think about it? Now this, even though I'm comparing to another film that had kind of the same like elements as like other science fiction films did, but I saw this kind of thing that they were doing with this blonde girl a lot more better in this film called Pandorum that came out in like 2009, because that film had a similar thing that happens where you see someone random that comes in late in the film, and then they're acting like kind of weird and stuff, and then basically, spoiler for those of you who are curious, they turn evil, and then basically for the sake of doing some mission or whatever, they decide to kill the rest of the crew. Basically,
I've seen that before.
Right. I'm telling you, this is Bland 101, but led to a T. Because as much as problems as some of those other science fiction films did, where they were kind of ripping off other movies, this just seems like they're just, at this point, didn't even care. They were like, just do this.
That threw me off. Here's the thing that really fucking confused me. There's this part where, like we said, like we don't know if they accidentally blew up Earth with that energy thing or the dimension thing, right? So we don't know yet. So then there's a part where not even far after that where they're trying to figure out where they're at. Some jackass looks through a fucking microscope thing and he can see Earth. Did you accidentally float away and then I'm lost here.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Did you get blown away and then you're like, oh, there's Earth over there? Or did we actually go to another dimension or interstellar? What happened?
Yeah, and
it does not explain anything. People are just, it reminds me of a video game where the blonde girl just spawns in a wall.
It's
and that's how badly edited this film is. It's like, okay, what's her story? And we have to wait 30 minutes to know who she is. So the whole entire time I'm like, what's going on here? Who is that?
Exactly. And not just that, but it feels to me that, now this is where we're going to get into some major spoilers of how this connects to Cloverfield. So basically, we're led to believe that this entire film is supposedly, I guess, an origin story of how the Cloverfield monster was created, because the film deals with time travel. So the title itself speaks for it, as it's called Paradox. So all the stuff that's going on in the space station where they travel back in time and everything, we're led to believe that wherever the Cloverfield monster actually came from is from this outer dimension, and somehow, because basically in the end, it's established that the rest of our...
I wonder if he came from the Dark Tower world, since it's a multiverse.
Pretty much, I'm guessing. But anyway, basically, it gets to the end where, if you've seen Life and how that film ended, it kind of ends the same way, where you have them pretty much escape the space station and they go to Earth, and it looks like they fixed everything when they put the accelerator back into what they were supposed to have to bring back to go back to the regular dimension. Well, it turns out, and you can obviously tell this was added material to the movie. The film basically ends where you have the girl's husband who's on Earth. He's basically telling her that he forgot to warn her to not come to Earth and everything. And then, I shit you not, it cuts immediately that to them, the shuttle like crashing down to Earth or whatever, and then you see the Cloverfield monsters pop out of nowhere in the clouds. And that's basically
And
pretty
he's
much...
been a mystery looking for all these other movies, but he comes out and I'm not even fucking impressed at how he looks like.
Yeah, if you've seen the first Cloverfield, there's... You know what, from what they used with that monster, for what I could tell, it was actually pretty frightening. But here, it looked like I was watching something out of a cheap-looking Godzilla film.
That's what I'm saying. It just like somebody trying to do like a Sharknado type thing. Like one of those little sci-fi things. It's like, okay, I'm not fucking impressed.
And not just that, but I'm kind of
Not only
wondering...
that, here's my question here, and this really threw me off. That Russian dude at the beginning, which is also a major spoiler, he starts having some weird shit fucking happen to him in his eyeball and all that shit. So when the shit hits the fan and like he's like and dying and all that shit, first of all, how the fucking worms get in there and how that fucking ball get in him? I'm lost.
Yeah.
I got lost right there. I mean, if I miss something, people tell me. Maybe somebody in another dimension did that to him. That doesn't explain anything.
It doesn't, because when we first see one of the parts with him, he's looking like his eyeball or whatever, but it's like, okay, did he get crossed in dimensions somehow? What the fuck happened to him?
Yeah.
It never shows it.
Not only that, I just felt like a lot of the score didn't like really fit with the film either.
I know, it felt...
It was like it was playing some weird 90s fucking
yeah.
I'm like, okay, what? This does nothing. I mean, J.J. Abrams may be just a producer in this film, but he has a lot of hand in this because this is his franchise. I'm actually really disappointed in him that he let something like this get released.
Yeah. I mean, because, to be honest, like, this film is everything that you do, what you don't do to make a film like this in a franchise. Basically, even as its own film, even if you took out the whole Cloverfield tie-in, it still doesn't work. You could count...
It's still a messy film.
It is. It not only is it's terrible with its writing, its narrative, the editing, the characters, very, so generic to the point that you really can't... That I kept getting fucking bored with them. The only pros
that's another thing, dude. They're like, that's another problem I have because the shit's really confusing, and there's just a lot of just blah 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 blah, like like fucking Charlie Brown talking wah 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 wah.
Yeah.
And you're pretty just fucking much bored throughout this film.
I was
kind of really bored with it. I was like, oh my god, this. I'm like, and then when I got that third quarter where they did that typical ending where that fucking girl backstabs him when she saw a mile away, I was really hoping to say, the credits just start rolling.
Right. That's what I'm saying, man.
Like, thank you.
Now,
but no, it just dragged on. I'm like, oh, come on, end.
Yeah. Now, if I have really any pros I do have with this film, I'll say...
Pros.
Okay, so... I'll say that the main girl, I believe her name is Gugu Mbatha-Raw, the main girl who's in the film, she seems like the only one that I did kind of like, at least, because she was alright. She actually, for her performance, at least, was good. Her character was like the only one who really had like any type of identity.
I will say this. I didn't get to bring this up in the cons either, even though I did talk about they were careless people. I didn't care about them. I thought she was alright in her acting, but the con I do want to bring up is a lot of these other actors, really, especially that dude that plays like the Irish Italian looking dude, his acting was bad.
Oh, he was. That's another thing I was going to mention in my con. There was this part where he gets his arm cut off, and basically it gets like sucked through this wall. Granted, it's a good visual because I like the way the effect was, but when he loses his arm, he acts in such the most nonchalant way, like, oh, I just lost my arm. That's no big deal.
Did you see that part where he was meant to actually get scared or feel something? Or whatever? He actually almost busts out laughing, and they actually kept that in there.
I know. I was like, that's not a good reaction. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, because he almost did. I'll go. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The acting's already atrocious, and a lot of these actors are really not that great. They're not. But yeah, with that girl, I will say she was okay.
Yeah,
she's well likable.
I will say also that the visual, at least like cinematography, you could tell that they were kind of going for that look they had in 10 Cloverfield Lane that I enjoyed. So there's at least that to it. You can tell it looks like
parts on those parts, but I will tell you right now, the visual cinematography of space and all that was beautiful.
Oh, it was
a visually stunning film.
Yeah. And there was
really weird. You could say it's a visually stunning film, but god damn, man, It's like taking fucking visually stunning films like Interstellar and then mixing somebody who wrote Borat on writing. I'm like, the fuck?
Well, not just that, but there were scenes that...
Like, how does that mix up?
Well, not just that, but there were scenes that basically almost seemed like they were either like stealing like beat for beat from, or it seemed like they were just, you know, taking those, just rehashing that same shit. Like, I shit you not, there's this whole film, I felt like I was watching a Sam's Choice version of Interstellar in some parts.
Yeah, it's Sam's Choice. If you found it hidden, somebody buried a Sam's Choice out in the woods, and you looked at the expiration date and it said 2007.
Yeah.
That's an old fucking soda. It's an old fucking soda. It's stale. I mean, the writing is... I mean, I can't believe J.J. Abrams had anything to do with this, because somebody like with his name, that just blew me away.
Yeah.
I said, okay, he can make sometimes average films or really good films, or, you know, he might go, you know, forgettable films, but never have I seen him associate with a movie that was fucking bad.
Yeah, there are some... This is one of those that I can honestly say that it was definitely a way step down from the other two films, because...
So back to our pros on this, I do want to mention, it had some pretty good bloody parts.
It did. There was at least a couple of parts that you could tell they at least rendered some practicals in here and there with that were good. Especially that part where they find that girl inside that whatever it was, and she's got like all that stuff on her face.
Oh, and they were stuck to her legs. And all the little things, like she was like she was a part of the ship or something.
Yeah,
I thought the paradox was going to be like they're pretty much inside the creature.
Yeah, but anything, it kept reminding me of that life form we saw in that movie Life. It was almost like, okay, is this like a brother or something from that creature? Because it seems like it's the same thing.
Especially when you saw the worms.
Yeah, that and the stuff where the dude's face gets stuck inside that wall.
Mm-hmm.
Or
now, yeah, like you said, the visuals, like the part where the guy stuck his arm in, and all that was pretty cool. They had some cool moments like that.
Yeah, and I'll say that at least like, and not just so yeah, and then the idea of them trying to do something like this, I at least appreciate, you know. But other than that, I mean, that's really as much as I could say, because the rest of it...
I do want to say one thing before I give my grade. I felt like J.J. Abrams with this movie, I felt what he was trying to do. If you guys remember 10 Cloverfield Lane, that movie, marketing was, like, you know, was pretty cool. Like, how it came out, and a lot of people liked it and enjoyed 10 Cloverfield Lane. Oh, this is a pretty smart move by him. I felt like because of that, he goes, oh, well, I'm going to do exactly that because I'll probably get highly praised. And it feels like he tried to accomplish that again, and he failed badly. And I felt like he also tried to be too smart with the film that he failed badly.
Yeah, this film does not resemble smart. The movie thinks it's trying to be, but it's...
Yes.
Like we said, I know we kind of exhausted this, but really... I would rather watch Event Horizon again because, well, that film's actually good. But also, even though there's other films that take similar elements to, you know, classic...
Life over this.
Yeah, Life, or similar elements of, like, Alien and things like that. Those films at least done something to the point that I still got interested in their stories, and I felt more like wanting to know what would go on throughout. This... I couldn't even figure out what I was really trying to understand a lot of time because it felt confusing and very, you know, so, like, messy at times.
With the visuals and some of the gore, some of the little minor pros I had to this, saved it from almost getting flatlined.
Yeah.
Got lucky.
But pretty much overall, I would say, yeah, this is definitely, to start out 2018, well, at least for Netflix in that regard, this was such a highly disappointment, and it's going to get on the Film Freaks meter, it's going to get a disaster rating.
Yes, I'm agree with Justin on here. I'm going to give Cloverfield Paradox a disaster rating on the Film Freaks meter.
Fair enough. And for those of you who have also seen, well, one more thing about Cloverfield Paradox, to kind of discuss some other things about the film, at least as far as theories wise. I can honestly say that there is a cool idea that it probably could connect sometime down the line, because later on this year we're getting another Cloverfield film that's called Overlord. And from what me and Eddie discussed as a theory, it's basically something to connect how all these films are somehow connected to the same universe in like different dimensions and stuff like that. if they go with the approach that we're kind of thinking later on down the line, I could see it kind of working. But for now, it just seems like this particular film doesn't really fit in with the rest of the other two films, at least.
It really doesn't. And even if they go with that theory that we talk about, which would be a smart way to go, I still don't think the film will jump on my grave. It will still stay a disaster because the film of itself will still stick out really badly, and it does.
It does.
I'm sorry, it does.
And because I know that, I mean, there's more details that some could point out. You know, I'm really welcome to hear y'all's opinion about it because, I mean, I know this is supposed to meant to if they're trying to imply that this creature itself just comes from another dimension and it's not just left to be open to explain. It still doesn't work for me because that's still piss poor writing, you know. And not just that, but I did also see that on the credits that there's actually a girl that was from Cloverfield Lane who has a brief role as a reporter in this. So
I'm glad that we're on video right now. Guess who I also found out is in this? He did a voiceover on a kind of like a space talk, like he's talking through a space station. Simon Pegg.
Yeah, I seen that. There are small connections here and there that you kind of see that's connected to Cloverfield, but I felt like this still wasn't like this still didn't really. There was something more that they could have done with the concept itself. So with that,
I think it was. You know what? I think that it would have probably been smart if J.J. Abrams went with his original. What was it, like a May and then possibly an October release, so he can have more time on it. Maybe he should have done that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, for those of you who have also seen, so that's our final thoughts, how we feel about the Cloverfield Paradox. For those of you who have also seen it, let us know in the comments of what you thought about that one and the rest of the Cloverfield films. And if y'all have any other theories that y'all can like discuss as well with the movies and how they're all kind of like shared, so to speak, we'd really like to hear about it in the comments. So, if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and also check out some other reviews here and subscribe. And check out our website at filmfreaks.com, and we'll be seeing you on our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.